What is up, RotoGrinders? We are back once again. Yesterday, we had a 10:30 show. Now we're just getting used to it at this point. Myself and Blender. Blender, of course, normally on 11 o'clock on the East Coast. We're jumping in early because we have an early slate. It's 12:30, 12:40 is first pitch? No, 12:05. I'm way off. Blender, rocking out over there. We have an hour to knock out this 6-game slate. I think it's a pretty awesome 6-game slate, to be honest. I really, really like this. I'm curious to get your thoughts. We have some really interesting stacks, some elite stacks. We have some really good pitching. I think we have some good game theory stuff as well. I thought we would get some discrepancy as far as ownership when it comes to the pitchers, and it's interesting because it seems like ownership's just kind of throwing their hands up and saying, yeah, they're all kind of the same. Scherzer, Cease, and Burns. And I don't know if it's going to land like that, and this stuff, of course, can change, but we'll have that discussion. Blender, happy Thursday. How are things?
Good. Another early morning, even a half an hour before I'm regularly on here. So I got my my Starbucks double shot energy drink because I'm an unhealthy individual.
Did you get the 4-pack, the 12-pack, or you buy them individually?
No, typically at the store, like it's like 2 for $7 or something. Like they have the 4-pack, but the 4-packs are smaller than these are the big 15 ounce. What? Some of these companies, why can't just everyone be at a standard where it's like 12, 16, 20, stuff like that? I get my wife she likes Dr. Pepper. So sometimes if you get the 8-pack, they're like 20-ounce Dr. Peppers. If you get the 6-pack, they're 16-ounce Dr. Peppers. And if you get the 12-pack, which comes in the plastic, they're like 11.5 and they're thin like this. It's like,
is this the shrinkflation everybody's talking about? This is shrinkflation.
They're trying to visually confuse us and be like, well, I get 12 of them, but they're only 11 ounces. So it's like for $8, that seems like a deal. But actually, there's more actual soda in the 8-pack, which costs $1 less. So unless you just like a lot of bottles, just want to make people aware of that. I am the resident consumer advocate here at RotoGrinders. So beware of the bottle sizes when you go to the supermarket.
Could your wife pass the Dr. Pepper, Mr. Pibb, Dr. Thunder taste test? The blindfold?
I think she could on that. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Dr. Pepper, that style of drink. I mean, I can, and if it's the only thing or whatever, but I think she'd be able to tell the difference between Dr. Pepper and Mr. Pibb. She could definitely tell the difference between the zero sugar Dr. Pepper and the regular Dr. Pepper. And I can't even tell the difference between regular Coke and Coke Zero Sugar. So that's a good thing. So I just get the zero sugar one when I want a Coke because it tastes the same to me.
Yeah, Coke Zero is healthy for you, of course. I just wanted to reference the Dr. Thunder because I always like the bootleg brands. Dr. Thunder, not to be outdone, of course, by Mountain Lightning. I don't know why those are.
Are these like the
Walmart,
the bogus brands, right?
The Walmart version.
Cereals, right?
Yeah.
Any cereal that comes in a bag has some name that it sounds very close to what it is. It's Frosted-O's instead of it's not Cheerios, but it's.
Who is this polar bear endorsing? I don't recognize this mascot. Never seen this guy before. What happened to Tony the Tiger? All right, hit that like button if you guys are hanging out on an early Thursday morning. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. If you did turn on notifications, you would know. Hey, that's why these guys are early. Typically, Blender comes on 11. We see TJ already hanging out in chat. He's going to steal all of Blender's good takes for sure. TJ has been producing the last several days, doing some content. He's been giving his opinions.
Our takes have been good. Our tiers have been good the past couple of days. Our tiers have been and pitches have been pretty good. Of course, I'm only playing like 3 lineups these days. I need to get the right combination of the 3. I know that Devin's been crushing it in the 20 max, but I think we both had the Cubs the other day, and both got killed.
As did I. It's been a rough 48 hours, or I don't know how many. I feel like I've lost like 4 or 5 slates in a row, and I know that stuff happens all the time, but I've lost them like tremendously, like not even close. But I guess it doesn't matter. With 50th percentile, would be, but might as well be dead last. Who cares? First or last, Ricky Bobby style. But it's been yesterday was a double whammy. Both slates, I just got absolutely shellacked, and there was several games where shortstops were pitching in the 8th inning, and I had no part of that. All right, let's get off the schneid today. 6-gamer, a lot of good pitching. Dylan Cease biggest K rate on the slate. Not the best matchup against Washington. Washington, not spectacular, but they are contact heavy. Corbin Burns, great matchup against the Miami team that is also not very good. Good pitching environment as well. One of the more interesting thoughts is like Max Scherzer, who's not been great, and he's old. 39, I want to say Max Scherzer is these days. I was reading Dave Potts's article. I had a chance to browse it. I didn't get a chance to fully read it because I was diving in and doing my content. And unfortunately, I only got like the summary stuff basically. But he was talking about how the two best pitchers of the generation are pitching today, right? Clayton Kershaw's back. We haven't seen him all season long. Probably limited, almost definitely limited. So you're probably not rostering him today. And then Max Scherzer, again, on his last legs. Another guy that's potentially on the trade block. If there is a such thing as a showcase game, if you believe in the concept of showcase games, this feels like one. This certainly feels like one. Show me that you still can throw baseballs and get people out, professional hitters. And we're using that term loosely because he's facing the Chicago White Sox. We saw Eovaldi last night, strike out to 10 Sox as well. I think Texas is still, the trade deadline, Blender, is 5-6 days away. And it's one of those things where, because there's the extra playoff spot, these teams can kind of lie to themselves and say, like, hey, we can stick around and kind of sneak in and get a wild card, I suppose. But unlikely. I wanted to see where Texas is at. I feel like these next 5 or 6 days might actually dictate if, Texas is if they're sellers or not. Let's see where they're currently at. You don't know this thing. I was going to ask you. But
I barely ever know what the records of any of the teams are. I have no idea. Sometimes I look at the records and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize the Orioles were that good. Right? It's like, oh, okay. And then I didn't realize the Padres are that bad. It's like, oh, okay.
By the way, I was being sarcastic, Devin. I was not suggesting that Coke Zero was healthy. Just catching up on the chat.
I'm so burnt. I don't drink sodas. I haven't had them in 10 years. I'm such a soda hater. So yeah, that's going to be my take.
What's your go-to beverage if you're not having water? Fruit juice of some sort?
Juice, water, coffee. Those are pretty much the only things I drink.
Coffee's not healthy.
No, it's not. And neither is my quad shot espresso over ice that I get every morning.
Right. Okay. So we all have our vices. Yours just happens to be the caffeinated ones.
Yeah. I
Triple shot, not enough.
No,
5 shots too many.
So I got this double shot, right? So so technically mine's probably still worse because it says B
sugar.
vitamins, ginseng, and then you go to the back and it's toxic chemicals all over, just they make it seem like
in so many words. Doesn't specifically say that, but that you have to know what these things actually are.
The ingredients, and it's after water, it's stuff that you shouldn't put in your body.
If you have a hard time pronouncing it, you probably shouldn't eat it.
Right.
That's a good golden rule for sure. Texas is 5.5 back, by the way, just as an aside. And 5.5 doesn't sound like a lot, but it kind of is because you're behind New York, you're behind Minnesota, Kansas City, Boston, Seattle, and Tampa at 4.5. Tampa might be sellers as well. Texas 6-4 in their last 10, and they have won 4 in a row. So maybe they're making a push to not sell. Just an interesting aside because if they lose the next 5 games, I assume Max is probably gone, Eovaldi's probably gone. If they win the next 5, maybe they stick around. Maybe they actually buy somebody. Who knows? We'll see. Okay. Your thoughts here, Blender, because I was surprised. I thought Scherzer would be the most popular because, I don't want to say by far, but distinctly most popular because he's the cheapest and he has the best matchup. Now, as far as numbers this season, Cease has a 32.5% K rate. That's the highest in the slate. Taj Bradley, 29.8%. He's my favorite tournament play today. We'll talk about him in a second. A little bit lower as far as ownership. Corbin Burns, the Ks are down a little bit this year, but still really good. 2.38 ERA, if you care about ERA, which is spectacular, obviously. The Sierra is still pretty good at 3.59. Good matchup against Miami. He actually has a higher swinging strike rate than Taj Bradley, so maybe he's been a little bit unlucky as far as his Ks. And then there's Scherzer. He's got that 4 ERA, 4.22 Sierra, 20% strikeouts. And he's another guy. If you look at the swinging strike rate, maybe he's been a little bit unlucky, 11.7%. I'm curious how you see it, Blender, because I was going to sort of default to ownership, and the ownership is telling me that they're all kind of the same. Cease, Burns, and Scherzer. And I'm trying to stress to get to Cease. Back-to-back games with multiple double-digit strikeouts, and one of them was against Cleveland, so he could overcome the bad matchup as far as from a strikeout perspective. What is your read on this?
Well, I mean, I think the read overall on the slate is that I think the hitting options are way more condensed. I mean, they're going to be 3 stacks that are going to be the most owned on the slate, and I think that's correct. I mean, like kind of like we have 3 teams that actually have decent set. 5.
I think there's 4.
5.
Which team are you not including?
Well, you got Texas. You got Texas.
Baltimore.
You got Baltimore. Then you got the Padres, and
that's it.
And that's pretty much that's it. I mean, I guess a little bit.
I got Cleveland. Cleveland's right there for me too.
Okay, and the Dodgers, I guess, but they're expensive. But I'm just saying that the pitching is good on the slate. That like I'm not necessarily looking to play like leverage stacks on this slate. I think there's enough pitching options that I don't mind eating some. There are ways to build your lineups with the chalkier stacks and chalkier offenses that ownership is not going to get absurdly out of whack. And there's like 5 pitchers I like want to play, but no one other than like maybe the bottom 4 are like unplayable in my opinion, and then everyone else is like kind of you can do whatever the hell you want with it. The bat has Scherzer as the highest raw projected pitcher, but you also have to remember that Cardi also, the bat is the most long-term, regression style, modeled. It's not based on short-term samples. So a lot of Max Scherzer's, modeling comes from, 2 years ago. And he may still be a lot like that pitcher, but he's also facing the White Sox with a very high strikeout rate. I mean, his strikeout prop is nearly 6.5. So it's comparable to Burns and a little bit under Cease. It really comes down to pitch count. I mean, to me, the main difference between Scherzer, Cease, and Burns is that I don't expect Scherzer to go 100 pitches, but Cease definitely can, and Burns can go close to 100 pitches. The most the intriguing plays on the slate to me, because those are going to be the most owned. I think Scherzer, Cease, and Burns are going to be the highest owned. I don't think
Taj Bradley is the most intriguing outside of those 3.
Not to me. Yeah, but to me, it's not. It's a 9K Taj Bradley. I know he's been good recently.
Yeah,
but I mean, 5 strikeouts against the Yankees, 5 against the Rangers, but of course, great games against Cleveland and Washington. Right? He has some 11s, 8s. I mean, he has some big games, but he also has some just straight average games. Like, I mean, they're buoyed by these big scores. And if he's going to get any amount of ownership on the slate where we already have pretty good pitching, like I don't want to play a 20% owned Taj Bradley at 9K when I could play Dylan Cease for 200 more, when I could play Max Scherzer for 400 less, when I could play Burns for 500 more. Like the 2 pitchers I'm looking at that if you want to fit in a little bit more expense into your offense is Chris Bassett against the Rays and Gavin Williams against the Tigers. I side more towards Bassett because they could let Bassett pitch for 110 pitches. I mean, like Bassett could go as long as he could go. His strikeout rate obviously is going to be less, but his strikeout prop is 5.5. It's better than Logan Webb's. It's comparable to like Taj Bradley's strikeout prop today is 4.5 at -155, so nearly 5.5. So like the betting markets, I mean, really don't see Taj Bradley from a strikeout perspective that much different than Chris Bassett. And similarly for Gavin Williams. And I just think that saving even $1,000 on this slate, getting an extra big bat in your lineup when there's really like only 3 spots of offense that I want to go to, that may be the difference. Because I think Bassett may end up being like maybe 15 to 18% owned. Gavin Williams 10 to 15% owned. And I think both these 2 guys, I mean, unless Burns or Cease or Bradley or Scherzer have this, 35-point DK game, I think Bassett and Williams could get 20 points. And for their price, you may not need the other pitchers.
All right, I got a couple things to say. I got some rebuts, but do want to say, Blender, it's a Fleet Thursday. It's an Athlete Thursday. How does that work? Well, it's just like Movie Monday. If you like Movie Monday, you're going to love Fleet Thursday. Tell me what athlete I'm talking about based upon these 5 clues. You can guess once per clue drop. Where do you guess? In the Discord. RotoGrinders, it's actually streaming right now. Devin has it streaming on the screen. RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Go in the live stream chat channel and tell me what athlete we're talking about today. The very first clue. And Blender, if you know this right out the gate, if you know this, don't spoil it. You can just secretly type it to me.
I mean, the way this goes, Dean, it always goes that you mess up the clues. Someone gets it on within 2 minutes, and then we have to fake having to do the other clues.
No. So this one, the par I think is 4. Par might be 3. Par over under 3.5. We're gonna set the over.
You've gotten better. Let me admit, Dean, you have gotten better. In the beginning, these were atrocious. Where the pars were hole in ones, and it's probably way too easy of a golf course.
But you got to understand, the chat would tell me that I was being too cruel. I was making it too difficult. But they want participation trophies. They think everybody should get RG Premium. They want it to be too easy. But the very first clue, and again, Butter, if you know this right at the gate, don't say anything. Very first clue is lefty. So if you don't, again, if that does it for you, try to say it.
Is this a clue where that's not the clue and that's just a clue to the clue, and then you have to go guess? You do that also, where like lefty could be a name, lefty could be just he's a left-handed hitter, or lefty could mean that this guy has a dog named Lefty, and then the guy's name is like a dog, right? Like his last name is Shepherd, and it's like you have to connect the lefty to one thing in order to get the clue for the other thing. So sometimes you get to that extent.
No participation trophies. How many athletes do you know the name of their dog? I can tell you one was I just noticed because I remember when he was a free agent, Bryce Harper, his dog is named Wrigley. And I'm like, he's got to go to the Cubs, right? That must mean he loves the Cubs. I think he was born in Vegas. I think he's a Vegas guy, but I think he was a Cubs fan growing up. Point me here. I have a challenge for you, Blunder. You mentioned Gavin Williams. Challenge. You ready? Point me in the direction of his last usable start.
Well, I'm going to bring it up online. His last usable start was.
He had one that was okay. It was one that was okay, but he's been terrible this year, and they don't let him go, and he labors. Like he's not been good.
He's facing Detroit, Dean. It's matchup based.
I understand, but you besmirched Taj Bradley. The other thing about Bradley is they've been letting him go back-to-back games of 7 innings. Old school Tampa would let once it's 5 1/3, you get the immediate hook. But they've let him go, which is nice to see. You're talking about his K's being a little bit down, but outs count too. You get points for outs. Obviously, K's are king, but that's part of the argument for Bradley as well. Bassett's another guy who can go 7 innings and strike out 4 or 5. I'm just trying to get away from Max. You were talking about ownership stuff, and you're like, I don't want to Taj Bradley. It's 20%, but he's currently projected to be half as owned as Max, half as owned essentially. I mean, more or less as far as the ownership. Let me just go ahead and confirm this. I got to give a refresh because my ownership stuff went away. I think that's because Cleveland's lineup just dropped on us. But let's see. Have we got a new batch? 1040. So we just got a new batch of ownership as well about 10 minutes ago. And yeah, this is what we're looking at. 36% for Max. And I thought Max was going to be the most popular because he's the cheapest. He's got the best matchup. 36% Max, 35 for Cease, 33 for Burns, Bassett 26, and then there's Bradley at 18%. There's only 12 dudes throwing baseballs, and you're like, I can't have a 20% owned pitcher. Like what? I don't get that.
I'm just saying in comparison to the other pitchers. It's just that, I have to respect the betting markets, to some extent where, I mean, he only has a 4.5 strikeout prop. I mean, it's not that, and the projection on the bat is lower. He's out of all these pitchers, Burns is the lowest comparing to price, but about the same. But raw point wise, I mean, Logan Webb has a higher projection by 0.3 in the bat than Bradley. So am I enthused on playing even if he's the 4th highest owned pitcher? But he's still going to be like a 20% owned pitcher. If I'm going to do that, I might as well just play Chris Bassett. I'd rather just.
But Chris Bassett does not have the K ability that Bradley has.
Well, according to the betting market, he has a better strikeout prop than Taj Bradley.
Okay, well, according to math, Taj Bradley's got a 29.8% K rate on the season, and Bassett's is 21.3%.
Yeah, but Bassett's facing the Rays, and Bradley's facing the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays don't the Blue Jays have like the third or fourth lowest strikeout rate in the league?
We don't have their lineup today, and as far as
once they got rid of Biggio, Kevin Biggio has a 1,000,000% strikeout rate. I mean, like the Blue Jays lineup doesn't really strike out as much as you think they do.
Yeah, it is a pretty contact heavy lineup, but it's a pretty walk heavy lineup too. So, and Vladdy's been awesome. You know, he's been awesome of late. If you want to give him the old hot thing, you know, I guess he's off the market now. I've stopped hearing stuff about him potentially getting traded at some point. They got to either extend him, or is he a free agent this offseason or next offseason? I don't know exactly, but yeah, cut his hair off, and he's starting to hit, you know, stopped hitting ground balls, hitting homers. Good for him. You want to see Varsho and Kiermaier in that lineup for what it's worth. Those are the two big K guys. Again, no Toronto lineup just yet. Trying to see if anything else has come out that's kind of sort of. Yes, we're getting no Rushman, and I see the dude in chat who has got a Baltimore avatar suggesting like it's bad that for Burns that I don't know. People say James McCann is a lefty masher as far as a catcher, and that's kind of nonsense. But is he a downgrade as far as catching wise? I think so. Does that mean I can't play Burns? No, but you know I want the better framer in there. Sure. We did have a couple extremes as well as far as pitchers. Let's see. Yeah, a couple extreme hitting umpires for Patrick Corbin. You're not rostering him anyway. Dylan Cease as an extreme hitters umpire. Whoops. Extreme hitters umpire for Corbin Burns. Not great. An extreme hitters umpire, of course, that means for Roddery Munoz. You're not rostering him. Yeah, McCann, not the best framer, but the Marlins are pretty bad too. The ballpark's pretty bad. I don't, and we'll talk about stacks in a second, obviously, but I think there's 4 teams that I want to build my lineups around. And I think, you know, I'm okay going, and I know this is gonna get you upset, Blender. But if I go like 2-2-1-1, like I just want like players from these 4 teams. It's a small enough slate where like maybe no team scores 7 runs. Oh,
only if you like to lose, Dean. I'm just letting you know.
And only if you like to lose. You enjoy donating to the cause. Thank you. But there are 3 clear teams that have a great shot at scoring 7 runs. Why the hell are you playing 2-2-1-1, 2-1?
Why do you hate Cleveland? I don't. Okay, so Kenta Maeda, to continue my age shaming.
If you like Cleveland so much, play 5 of them. Why are you playing 2-1-1?
Because I like Baltimore.
Make a stand, Dean, for once in your life. Come on.
I also like Baltimore. I also like Texas, and what was the other team I like? Yeah,
San Diego. Baltimore. Patrick Corbin's on the mound.
Yeah,
you'll play the team for the kids from the Sandlot movie against Patrick Corbin. You have no problem with that. They'll hit the ball right in the yard with the big nasty dog in it.
By the way, you're not going to like this, or the people in chat are going to like us. Sandlot, overrated. Very.
Oh no, it's definitely an overrated movie, but it was a good reference for the joke I was trying to make.
Nostalgia is undefeated. Like everything's great when you're 9 years old, but you watch it when you're older. Like, this kind of sucks. This kind of sucks.
Am I supposed to make the reference of Patrick Corbin's on the mound? Even Roy Hobbs can hit the ball into the light in the back.
The people don't know the natural,
right? So Julius Joe Jackson can come back from the dead and hit the ball into the cornfield. What more movie references? Do I have to make Bull Durham references now? How many baseball references? Even Gina Davis off of Patrick Corbin for the Rockford Peaches out to the. I mean, what?
Marla Hooch. Marla Hooch would have been in every one of my lineups. What a hitter, Marla Hooch, the second baseman. It's a bad position too. Top 10 just says you're overrated, which I assume you're talking about me. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with that. That's okay. Bull Durham only slightly. We should do most overrated baseball movies. What is your best baseball movie, Blender? Do you have one off the dome?
I mean, it's not the best movie, but probably I like Major League. Yeah, I mean, technically it's probably not the best movie, but to me it's the Caddyshack, like golf Caddyshack. It's like that, right? Major League, the most quotable one out of the bunch. I mean, yeah, but it's not the best movie. It's a stupid comedy.
It's Moneyball, A League of Their Own, or Field of Dreams. One of those 3.
Yeah, I would probably put League of Their Own probably 1.
All right. So have you settled on this? I'm gonna for sure play this pitcher, or it's just sort of like whichever pitcher fits as far as your stack.
Yes, that's my goal today. I'm playing 3 lineups. I'm going to be playing the Padres, the Rangers, and the Orioles, and then whatever 2 pitchers fit in those lineups, that's who I'm playing. But I'm much more likely to if I had to choose, I don't know what it's going to be because I don't know what fits. I'd be more likely to play Dylan Cease 1, Scherzer 2, Burns and Bradley. I may like those. Maybe the 2 pitchers where I just like take out, and then I'll play one lineup with Gavin Williams, one lineup with Chris Bassett, or something like that. Seems like what I'm more likely to do.
Fleet Thursday. Nobody got it. No hole in one. Nobody binked it with lefty. That wasn't enough. But number 2, clue number 2, Blender. This might change things. Who knows? Clue number 2 is adult beverage. Adult beverage is clue number 2. We did get a Cleveland lineup, by the way. Adult beverage, which I guess you're drinking one technically,
right? Is this right? Like what? Like I'm an adult and I'm drinking a beverage. This is like you would not give this to a 4-year-old. So this is an adult beverage. What
is the old joke? Like any book can be a children's book if like an adult's reading it. I don't. Right. I butchered it. Is that Mitch Hedberg? I think I can't remember who it was. Cleveland: Stephen Kwan, Martinez, J. Ram, Fry, Naylor, Noel, Jimenez, Rocchio, and Bo Naylor. So both Naylors are hitting the lineup there. We are still without the White Sox, Texas, no Tampa, no Toronto. Same deal as yesterday. You're going to want to you got to babysit your lineups a little bit because you're probably not going to get these at lock. Lock coming in just a little bit over an hour. So 3:07 start for Toronto. The 07, of course, you got to get the Canadian national anthem in there. And probably not going to get that 4:10 with San Fran and the Dodgers. I saw several people in chat talk about Logan Webb. I think he's fine, but I think he falls back a little bit. If you're running 150, sure, I guess. He doesn't really feel necessary to me. You are getting a little bit of a discount. 8-1 is a pretty good discount for him. So, again, it's fine. Kershaw doesn't seem necessary. I can't imagine he goes beyond 5 innings. If he throws 65 pitches and at the end of 5, he's probably done. Maybe they give him one more, but again, they care about September. They don't care about today. They want to win, sure. But he's just not in my pool. Cannon for Chicago, not in my pool. Hold on a second. Is Kenta Maeda not starting anymore for Detroit? Or is this an opener? Tyler Holton?
Yeah, I think no. Maeda's only coming in. I mean, I think his pitch count is in the bat is 65 pitches. So I mean, he wasn't an option to me, even if he was opening, starting, whatever. The Detroit pitching situation, I ain't playing.
Well, no, I wanted to pick on Kenta Maeda. 70 innings pitched amongst all pitchers that have thrown over 70 innings this year. We don't talk a lot of ERA around these parts, but who's got the biggest ERA? It's got to be Kenta Maeda. Otherwise, what's the point of me bringing that up at all? Kenta Maeda this year has a 7.07 ERA in 71 innings. And he's also not getting any younger. He's 36.
What's his Sierra, Dean? Maybe he's just been unlucky.
It's 4.61. It's 4.61.
Okay, that's still bad. I'm saying this very facetiously. Like you're not going to be unlucky for 70 innings. Like no, that's not a thing.
When did that switcheroo happen? And is that officially is Holton throwing baseballs for the entire game? Yeah. I think he's a reliever.
Yeah, you're getting so high on this Guardians love or whatever. I'm not playing Cleveland at all today. So.
What's your disdain for Cleveland? Like Naylor and J-Ram.
Well, that's what the whole point of having projections, Dean, is that
the ball jumps out of that ballpark now. I'm not sure if you know they changed the signage. And we talked about Major League. It's a sign. If you believe in signs. There you go. Willie Mays Hayes is a crack the lineup, I believe. I'm not sure. Got to confirm that.
Dean, don't you realize that the RotoGrinders and all of our fantasy labs and scores and odds, we have a better collective of minds that is better than yours and mine, and everything goes into all these models and stats and everything that's here that I don't question. It's to me, it's an oracle. It knows all, it sees all, and if Maeda's starting or not starting, it'll be reflected in the numbers. If there's an extreme hitters umpire, it'll be all of that's already in everything. So I don't know why people aren't just trusting the oracle by clicking on the link in the description.
Did you know I have a Magic 8 Ball Does RotoGrinders and Better Collective have a Magic 8 Ball?
Dean,
or
no
Mr.
one's gonna pay the RotoGrinders premium for that, right? Unless people want it. We should add.
They're just gonna cut. They're gonna cut the middleman out and just go to Amazon. Let me play devil's advocate here, Jordan, because looking at the Plate IQ stacks page, it looks like Cleveland is only 10 points away from first, the highest percentage or highest projected stack currently, and that's
a lot. Devin, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's
but
not
on
even a home run. I can't believe when ceilings happen.
Top stack is not even 90 points projected. That's a pretty low projection. I think this is a stack to be spread out.
Right, Devin. Here's my counter argument for the jury. The bat, Hardy's projections, best in the industry. Average 5-man stack projection. The Marlins against Burns are 0.06 higher than the Guardians today. So if you're saying you want to play the Guardians, that means like you have to actually consider the Marlins against Burns today. And if your first thought is like, I just vomited in my mouth, that's how low the Guardians project in the bat.
Blender, do you want to? I'll give you the Marlins. I'll take the Guardians. Slide in my DMs.
I'm not saying I'm taking the Marlins either. I'm taking neither.
Well, then what point are you making then? You're saying you told me to take a stand. Where's your stand? If you listen,
my stand is on the Padres, the Rangers, and the Orioles.
10% of everybody.
Cleveland,
that's all
Cleveland outscores one of those three teams. How about that?
Cleveland outscores one. No. Remember, we're playing GPPs, Dean. They have to outscore all of those three teams, right? If the Guardians just score 6 runs, but their Padres put up 12, you lose. So it doesn't matter. So that's what I'm aiming for.
Well, they all can't outscore everybody. So, like, why can't Cleveland with the team that outscores everybody?
You're right. I'm not saying there's a 0 probability. I'm just saying that there's
just got to get the cold shoulder is all I'm saying. Okay. Have you seen Josh Naylor this year? Have you seen J-Ram? Even Quan has hit a couple homers.
I haven't seen any of these people. I don't watch the games. And by the way, I think I have a. Can I guess on the Thursday? Can I get a free month or a week or whatever? Or
sure, you could use it from the sounds of your takes.
Right. Because I'm not in the live stream chat on the Discord. So
don't get it right.
If you want to guess this, go to rotogrinders.com/Discord. Go in the live stream chat. So I'm not even looking at. So I have no idea. Did someone get it already? I have no idea. Okay, because can I make a guess? Am I allowed?
I mean, there's a chance you ruin the game, but if you want
the game as it is, what does it matter?
Here's the deal, Blender. You can guess. We're gonna give 0 response. Dean just deadpan.
Okay.
Right now, my natural guess for those 2 clues would be Todd Helton.
Ooh. Okay.
Dean, that's a response, Dean.
You know what? I'm bad at poker. Bad poker face. This might change things though, Blender. Third clue is job description. Job description? Lefty, adult beverage, and job description. Those are your 3 clues. Tell us what we're talking about. What athlete are we talking about?
What's a job description?
Well, it'll all make sense in the end, Blender.
It'll make sense that the clues are really lead to other clues, that you need that in order to get the whatever. You do these things where job description. Okay. So obviously it's not Todd Helton.
Well, I mean, maybe it could be.
Or it's not, or for some odd reason, the word Helton or the word Todd or something. Or for some reason, Todd Helton's wife it works for an employment agency and post jobs to make money from home on Craigslist, and we just have to piece that together in order to figure it out.
I mean, I don't know what Todd Helton's life situation is, but I'm guessing his wife doesn't have to work. He is a Hall of Famer. He did pretty well in his career.
You never know. These athletes, hey, you've heard stories of these athletes that just like lose all their money in bad investments or something. So
yeah, but
maybe
not when
she
you play
has
15
to work.
years.
You don't know
I
that.
Suppose. Yeah, sure. I guess it's possible. I hope. I'm sure she's spectacular, whatever she's doing. All right, 3 clues are at it. Let's see if we have any good guesses going on. I want your summary as well when it comes to pitchers. Go ahead and give me that as I pull up the live stream chat. I want to see if anybody's close, if anybody's live, see what kind of guesses we're getting so far.
I think that the bucket of pitchers you're playing today, Cease, Burns, Bradley, Scherzer, Bassett, Williams. I don't think you're nuts playing Logan Webb against the Dodgers, although I'm just not going to do it. But I mean, I don't think you're nuts. I think you're nuts by playing all the other. Like Kershaw on a pitch count, I ain't doing. Munoz, Cannon, and Corbin are out of the question. I would rank personally, and according to the bat projections, I would rank the pitchers, like I said before, Cease 1, Scherzer 2, Burns 3, Bradley 4, Webb 5, and then Bassett and Williams are the cheaper options. And I would actually rank Bassett maybe even over Bradley or Burns to me. Like my lineups are much more likely to look like Cease Bassett, Scherzer Bassett, Cease Williams, Scherzer Williams, like that type of line. That's at least mine. That's what they'll look.
Some guesses in the live stream Discord, live stream chat. That's where you have to put your guess. If you happen to know the answer, you get yourself a week free of RG Premium. To be clear, it's not just baseball. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, whatever's in session. Obviously, there's no hockey in session right now. PGA, MMA. It looks like we just got a winner. I think we had somebody bink it. We did. I set par at 3.5. I think this might have done it as well. But now we can just kind of get our reps in, Blender. Casey Douglas said Christian Yelich. It's not Yelich. It's not David Wells. I love this guess from S. Flores, Nick Martini, which is a spectacular guess. Adult beverage being one of the clues. It is not Nick Martini, but I can see where you get there. Arnold Palmer is a fun guess too because, but an Arnold Palmer is not an adult beverage, right? That's lemonade and sweet tea, isn't it? Is it half and half?
Do adults drink it, Dean?
Do toddlers drink it, Dean?
I don't have a child. I don't know if you
I've never seen a toddler with an Arnold Palmer. Like,
I would love it if a toddler ordered an Arnold Palmer. It'd be hilarious. Clue number 4, by the way, this might get you there. Royalty is clue number 4. But Brandon O'Sports has the winner. I won't say it just yet. Tasteful Tides says John Daly is an adult beverage. I guess John Daly was guessed. Somebody said Jared Lorenzen, of course, known as the hefty lefty. This guy also kind of a husky lefty. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about our stacks. We'll go ahead and drop the 5th clue again for fun. We're just kind of playing it out, but we do have a winner. Despite your issues, Blender, it worked out perfectly. We got it right on 3. We didn't just put it on a plate and spoon it, feed it to anybody. You got to earn it. You got to get your victory. And it'll all make sense. We'll explain it when we get to the end. We go ahead and drop the 5th clue. Okay. You want to go ahead and do stacks? Oh, before you do that, Blender, explain your board. You did the board today. I think it's kind of goofy, but and I have some questions about it too. But go ahead and tell the people what.
Well, I ranked. I did just to confuse people, because it's Sleep Thursday and you confuse people as it is. I decided to rank the numbers 1 to 5.
So, is this a coincidence? Were you on with Squirrel the other day? Did you guys talk about this? Because yesterday I was talking to Squirrel and I was like, "Yeah, what should we do as far as the board?" He threw out, "Let's rank numbers." Is this just a weird coincidence, or did you guys have this conversation?
It's just a weird coincidence. I mean,
that's so strange.
Remember, this show, we didn't even know that we're going to have a slate this size. So, like, we weren't even scheduled to have a show as of, like, last night. So, like, I had to, wake up and be like, oh, another tiers thing? Why, guy, what am I going to do? And I just thought it would be funny to have, like, numbers to be not in the order on the board so I could say that a team is in tier 1, which is the 4th tier. So, like, that's why I did it.
We were going to do, like, ranking numbers like 420, like the classics will be in there. I think I took it to that route, and then I kind of strayed away from it. But 13 people, some people, but you just went 1 through 5. You ranked, so you're not saying that the number. What does that say? 1, 2. What's number 1 for you?
Is that the number? The top tier is 3, then 2, then 5, then 1, then 4.
So do you think 3 is the best number amongst 1 through 5?
Comedy comes in 3s, Dean. It has to be the best number.
Deaths as well.
And this is a bit. So this bit obviously is top tier. So 3. Everything comes in 3. Everything good comes. Actually, that's why number 2 is in the 2nd tier, which is actually the 2nd tier, because everything that I like comes in pairs. and you can take that to be whatever beat you want.
I'm just gonna let that sit there. But yeah, you say, hey, name a number between 1 and 5. People say 3. Name a number between 1 and 10. People say 7. That kind of thing. But is that 4? You're a big fan of a 3, but you hate 4. Not a big fan of 4.
I don't know what does Devin post? 2 being 2 is egregious, right? Is that bad? Does Stevie come on after this to complain about my list?
Not today.
Right? Not today.
I think it's TJ and
TJ. Okay, TJ may have a problem. Okay, now I see, because obviously 5 is in the middle, because 5s are easy to count, right? They're like 5 is like neutral. It's like I have no problem
easy to count.
Once we get to movies, like 5 is typically not that good. The 4th tier is number 1, because everyone's like, well, obviously number 1 is being good, but most people hate number 1, right? If you're the first, and if you're in the YouTube comments, like, and you go like first, and that's your only comment, like what are you doing? Like you're I mean, you didn't contribute to society whatsoever. Just because you're first doesn't mean you're the best. So I'm putting it in the tier 4.
Why are you taking shots at the people that support us? What are you doing? By the way, we're behind on time. Funny enough, it's going to be SquirrelPatrol coming in, so Squirrel's going to see this board and think like I somehow forced this, like I stole it. But no, this was your idea. That's so weird. Squirrel's coming on as well as TJ in about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes or so. We're gonna have to speed this up, surprisingly enough. But one thing we did, Blender, we kind of talked about our stacks already to some extent. But let's go ahead and knock this out as quickly as we can. By the way, clue number 5, we'll go ahead and drop it for funsies, is famous father. Now you should know it. Lefty, adult beverage, job description, royalty, famous father. San Diego taking on Washington, 9 total, Patrick Corbin and Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease, pretty big favorite here, minus 175 in Washington. Where do you have the fathers and the Nats?
I think that Padres are going to be the most owned team on the slate, slightly due to price. I think they're deserving of it, but I mean, just because of ownership, they're going to go down just slightly. So they'll be in the second tier, which is tier 2, which is the only tier that actually matches their position.
San Diego in 2, okay. And how about Washington?
And then Washington, I'm not in the the Washington actually doesn't project all that bad against Cease. I mean, still poorly. I don't think you're nuts in large field contests. Cease is going to be like 35% owned. So the Nationals, my inclination would be to put the Nationals in tier 1, but I think they get, because it's a small slate. So like I can't put like everyone
so
on the bottom.
Confusing.
Right. So I'm
it's
putting
kind of confusing for Devin. I'm sure it's
I'm putting the Nationals. I'm putting the Nationals on tier 5, which is the 3rd tier.
It's confusing naturally, but it's also even doubly confusing because Blender's got this like European version of the tiers where he's going best is at the bottom instead of best being at the top. So it's just, this is all over the place.
And I feel bad for people that are listening and like not watching, because that's probably confusing as well. And that's probably what most people are doing, like making lineups and listening. But any of it,
Washington is in tier 5.
Which is
confusing. Just leaving it at that is confusing. In any event,
this is why I did it, Dean. I needed to. We had nothing to do in the morning. I need to make it. I need to
antagonize the audience and confuse them. And Devin too, while you're at it. Bogarts, by the way, is basically getting 2 hits every single game since coming back, but they're all singles. Just thought that was worth noting. And the power has been kind of zapped as well. But I'm not saying you can't play him, but if he's going to be super heavily owned, I know he's really cheap on FanDuel, like 2.8 over there. Probably is a cash game staple. Okay, just wanted to get that take out there. Baltimore taking on Miami. Baltimore, pretty clear favorite here with Burns on the mound. Almost a 5 total, locked in for 9 against the Marlins. Roddery Munoz has been pretty horrendous this year, giving up 2.4 homers per 9. That is too many. Walking too many, almost 12% walk rate. No Rushman in that Baltimore lineup, so it takes a slight hit. You got McCann in there. It's easier to get to now as far as the stack. He's just cheaper. Where do you have Baltimore and the Fish?
Baltimore has the top stack of the entire slate for raw points, as well as price, especially with Rushman out of the lineup. It becomes even cheaper. And then the Marlins. So just to be clear for people listening, The Orioles are in tier 3, which is the first tier. And the Marlins are in tier 1, which is the fourth tier.
I agree. Marlins might be a tick high, but I guess they're fine. But Baltimore is my favorite stack on the board. It's really close, but they are my favorites.
Dean, can we just get it over with that the Guardians are in the bottom tier? Can I just do that? Just
by bottom, you mean tier? No, that's ridiculous. I mean, you're playing into the bit. I will take Cleveland.
I'll leave them off. We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Oh, gosh. Tyler Holton and Kenta Maeda. Kenta Maeda also getting his face punched in. I don't like the opener situation. That's really to get Quan out, I suppose. Maybe they get the nailer. He probably goes the nailer and then comes out. But Cleveland almost a 4.5 total, -175 favorite. Gavin Williams, who it's like he's not been good this year. It's just he's had one decent start against Detroit. He hasn't played a lot. Also, it's worth noting. But he's going to grab some ownership. Where do you have Cleveland and Detroit?
I have Cleveland as the most over-owned team on the slate. Naturally, they'd be somewhere in the middle. I mean, are you crazy for playing them? So, Dean, no, you're not crazy. What? You're not crazy for playing them. I would put them on the fourth tier, I would put them on tier 4, which is the final tier. But I'm fine putting them in tier 1, which is the fourth tier. So then, like I said earlier, if you're going to play the Guardian, if you're like all gung-ho and playing the Guardians, they project about the same as the Marlins today in the bat. So you got to put them on the same tier. But
hit the refresh button.
If you're not watching, Dean, if you're not watching, Cleveland stacks are tier 1.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe Devin can break the tie because usually it's like two of us. And then they give their opinion and I jump in and break the tie. But I would argue that Cleveland should be, if not in 3, which is 1, they should be in 2, which is in 2. Where do you have Cleveland, Devin?
Now I gotta ask here: is 2 the second best, or is 2 the second worst? Is San Diego in a bad spot tonight based on this chart?
The positioning of the tiers that the further you
go. So green is
good.
Good. Green is good for you then? Okay, so
right. If you're in tier 3, you're the best. Right?
Call a spade a spade. That might be a little backwards, but that being said, yeah, I think Cleveland probably deserves to be at least in 5-3.
What? Let's move them up into the middle. There you go. I'm still upset.
Tier 5?
Tim nailed it. This is anarchy.
This is ridiculous. 3 more games to go. Again, crunch time coming in about 5 minutes or so. So let's try to speed this up a little bit. We should explain the Fleet Thursday. We'll do that in a second. Well, let's go ahead and knock this game out first. That's the White Sox in Texas. Jonathan Cannon taking on Max Scherzer, 8.5 total. Texas, a monster favorite, -250 favorite, a team total above 5. You want to put, who put Blender in charge of these tiers? I always just yield to Blender. I always assume he's going to come up with something. Everybody else I kind of make contact with, and I think Blender enjoys doing this. I think he's enjoying this today. He's enjoying this conversation.
This is my favorite one that we've ever done.
We still have 2 more months of doing this, so what else? I've said this before, by the way. If you have any suggestions for things you want us to power rank, let us know on the old Twitter. By all means, give us some thoughts. Always looking for ideas. Not for certain we'll use it, but maybe we'll use it. White Sox, Rangers. What do you got?
Rangers are a top tier team also. I mean, the Orioles, the Rangers, and the Padres are the 3 clear top teams. I think the Padres will be the most owned. So that's why I dropped them down to tier 2. But the Orioles and the Rangers, these are going to be the chalkiest teams, but they may not be chalky enough. I think people may take shots on other teams like the Guardians that they shouldn't be at their ownership. And, that'll deflate these are the best spots on the entire slate. The White Sox, I'm not sure if anyone is on the worst tier on this slate because, maybe Detroit, Scherzer is going to be owned enough that I can't put White Sox in tier 4. So I got to bump them up to tier 1, which is the 4th tier.
Bump them up to 1 and drop them down to the 4th tier. Right. I was trying to make
exactly what I'm talking about.
I was trying to make a Chicago mini work, as kind of leverage. And I still think Scherzer is going to be a little bit more popular when we project. That's just my guess. I understand that, like, that's not, I tend to, I'm probably going to be wrong more than correct on that. But I thought that Scherzer was going to separate just because the matchup is better and the price is better than the other guys. And we still have Scherzer ahead, but not by a far amount. But all right, 2 more games. Let's talk about Tampa. Tampa taking on Toronto. Taj Bradley, who I like. Chris Bassett, who you like. Where do you have the Rays and the Blue Jays? No lineups just yet because this game does not start till 3:07 on the East Coast.
Well, I mean, I vastly prefer Bassett over the Rays. But I mean, I don't think the Rays are a bad team. I just like the totals in that game are just like low, like just completely low. So like, I mean, I could put both of them in the middle. I mean, they're not as bad as like just raw talent from the Marlins and the White Sox, but the Rays and the Blue Jays are kind of the same. I'd rather take a shot on picking on Taj Bradley, because no one else will. So I think the Blue Jays are going to be way lower owned than they should be. I mean, they should be low owned, but not as low owned as they are going to be. So I'm putting both of them in tier 5, which is the 3rd tier.
Last game is San Fran and the Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw, the return of Kershaw's first start this year. Logan Webb throwing baseballs for San Fran. If you're not aware, the Dodgers did add Nick Ahmed. They also threw Miguel Rojas on the IL. So they shook things. I mean, Ahmed's still also just another bad player that's cheap at the back end of their lineup. We're not sure if he's in there just yet because, this is a 4-10 East Coast game. No lineups just yet. Make sure you got to baby these. If you're playing Dodgers, you're playing Giants. Where do you have LA and San Fran?
I think the Dodgers are going to be lower owned than they should be because people they look at Logan Webb and go, why am I targeting Logan Webb? And the Padres, the Rangers, and the Orioles are going to soak up so much ownership, and they're cheaper. But the Dodgers are the Dodgers. So, like, the Dodgers have a ceiling on any slate against any pitcher. The other thing is that to play a decent Dodgers stack, you're going to have to play like Chris Bassett. You're not going to be able to play like 2 9K pitchers. So, the Dodgers are tier 2, which is the 2nd tier, obviously. And the Giants.
What else would it be?
Right. What else would it be? And the Giants. I mean, I know we talk about the Giants that they never win a slate, but
they don't.
They're up against Clayton Kershaw and the bullpen, and Clayton Kershaw ain't old school Clayton Kershaw. I'm gonna put the Giants. They're solidly in tier 5, which is the 3rd tier.
It's outrageous. You're the Giants next to Cleveland. I don't want that stench.
No, I would put Cleveland down here in tier 1. You forced me. I was out. I was vetoed and outruled, and I had to put Cleveland in tier 5 instead of tier 1, which is the 4th.
I forgot that you're controlling the board, aren't you? Normally it's producer Steve, but you have control of this, right? You're the one that's manipulating these teams. Yeah. All right. Our final board in the top tier in 3, we have Baltimore and Texas, and the 2nd tier we have San Diego and the Dodgers, which again I don't agree with that. In 2. Right there in the middle in 5 is Cleveland, Washington, Tampa, Toronto, and San Fran. In tier number 1, which of course is the 4th tier, it's the Marlins and the Sox. And there's nobody hanging out in tier number 4. 1 is the loneliest number, but today 4 is the loneliest number.
4 is supposedly fantastic. Like, what is 4? That's why 4 is all the way at the bottom. I don't know what. Name it something that's good in 4s. Like, what's 4?
Tires.
Wheels.
Or tires? Who cares about tires?
Well, I mean, do you not? Are you
my car?
Vehicle?
My car cares.
Who cares about
if that's it, if the only thing that's good that comes in 4s is tires, they deserve to be the bottom tier.
The 4 Horsemen. You're a wrestling guy. The 4 Horsemen. Ric Flair.
I wasn't big into Southern wrestling. 4 Horsemen.
The other 3.
Right.
Tully Blanchard. Is that one of them?
Yeah, Tully Blanchard, Arn
Is
Anderson.
That right?
Yeah,
Arn Anderson.
And Barry Windham. Yeah, of course.
There you go. Look at that. I just pulled that one out of the caboose. 4 Christmases, of course, a spectacular Vince Vaughn movie that nobody enjoyed. 4 Limbs. There you go. TJ jumping in the chat.
People are not naming really that appealing things. You're not selling.
Oh, the final 4. They lost me on that. The final 4 is lame. Overrated.
Hitters don't matter in baseball anymore. Everyone bats first now. I mean, come on.
Rocky 4 was pretty good. Drago?
That's going to be the thing. Well, Rocky 4, obviously. I got to move 4 all the way up. Come on, really?
I'm really here for the keyboard warriors that are here to swoop in and save number 4.
There are 4 seasons. Oh, the 4 tops. You don't like the tops? What's your issue with the tops? By the way, we had a winner for Fleet Thursday. And Blender, I'm disappointed in you. You did not guess the answer. But clue number 1 was Lefty. Clue number 2 was adult beverage. Clue number 3, job description. 4, royalty. 5, famous father. Do you want me to tell you what the answer is?
Yeah, tell me what the answer is.
Okay, this person is a lefty. Adult beverage. They played for a team that is named after an adult beverage to some extent. The Milwaukee Brewers, famously. Job description. Their name is actually what they do to some extent. Hits baseballs, but also fields baseballs. Royalty. Name me. What are different types of royalty, Blender?
Kings, queens, princes.
Okay. Oh wait, hold on. What was that last one?
Princes. He fields balls. He's Prince. He's Prince Fielder. He has a famous father, Cecil Fielder.
Yeah.
I think it's.
Do you want a fun fact? I was also gonna. I don't know if Devin can pull this on the fly or not. I was gonna say Nacho. There's a famous clip of him like eating somebody. He's going for a foul ball, and he either catches the foul ball or doesn't catch the foul ball. But while he's in the stands for a second, he steals somebody's nachos. It's a famous clip. I don't know if we can get that gif on the fly, but it's pretty good. You want a fun fact about the fielders? Here it is. Look at Devin all over. There it is. Just stealing the dude's nachos. Respect. So you want a fun fact, Blender? You didn't ask for it.
I really don't, but you're going to give it anyway. But yes.
You know what?
Go
you tell me this. I don't want to be presumptuous. You tell me if this fact is fun or not. It is a fact. It's up to you to tell me if it's fun or not. You ready? Prince Fielder had 319 career home runs. His father, Cecil Fielder, had how many career home runs?
319 home runs.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be. Imagine if you said, "Well, no, he had 286 home runs," and I'd have to ask you, "Well, why is that a fun fact?" So obviously, it's going to be the same.
You tell me. Is that fun or is that not fun? It's a fact.
What facts are supposed? What is a fun fact?
You've never heard the phrase "fun fact"?
Dean, I would put that fact in tier 5, which is a third tier.
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. I think that's an interesting fact, but I wouldn't put it as like. Obviously, it's not as bad as a tier 1, which is the 4th tier fact, but definitely makes at least tier 5, which is a 3rd tier fact.
We need more opinions on this. Let's go ahead and bring in Crunch Time. Let's bring in TJ Zwarych, Kevin Roth, and SquirrelPatrol, who's going to sue you for copyright infringement for stealing his bits without even knowing it. Let's bring in Crunch Time. Couple things. Fun fact, not a fun fact. I'm assuming you guys heard that Prince Fielder and his dad, Cecil Fielder, both the same amount of home runs, 319. It's not like they each had like 3. They had 319. Fun or not fun?
Extremely fun.
Yeah. Quite fun. Give it.
Yeah. Secondly,
is it tier 3 fun?
It's tier 1, which I think was listed 4th. Whatever the hell was going on with your tiers.
It takes a lot to get me to come on Crunch Time and be very pro Dean after a Grinders Live, but I'm very pro Dean and anti Blender after this tiers.
All right. I'm also curious to get your guys' take on Cleveland because I don't know how much of the show you watch, but he besmirks Cleveland pretty hard as well. The other thing is, Squirrel, I don't know if you heard, and I thought for sure there was some kind of collusion. You guys had a previous conversation, and you brought up yesterday privately. You're like, yeah, let's power rank numbers. Like, and you even said like it's a meta way of doing it. And Blender did the same exact thing. That's so weird. You guys did not have a discussion about this, but yeah, he stole your idea basically.
Well, it's late July and we're running out of ideas. We've known a lot of boards. So I was actually just going to do like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I was saying like, we should do like very minimalist, right? This is a little bit more confusing. Like when somebody said like, oh, is it tier 4 or tier 1? It's like, you got to bring the board back. Because I don't remember what the order was. So yeah, it was a little bit difficult if you were not looking directly at the board and just listening.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to our categories for the next 2 months. They're going to be really, really interesting for sure. Yeah, again, do tweet at myself and Blender and let us know and what you want us to power rank going forward. Roth, we're good as far as weather, right? I have not checked recently. I think it's good. Yes.
I have a thing we can power rank.
Oh, what do you got?
All right. So this is pretty obscure, but like we mentioned, it's late in baseball season. So we had, like a month ago, a tree fell in a house, punched some holes in the roof of the house. And what happened is a rodent got in the home. So my thought for the power rankings would be sports expressions when taken away from the sport, because never in my life have I had to say so many times mouse in the house and did not refer to it like in the basketball manner, be like mouse in the house, mouse in the house. So we could power rank expressions that you say in sports taken out of context, like Butterfingers. That's a thing you say in sports, but taken away from sports, that's great. That's a high tier thing.
I like it.
Am I the only one here that does what does mouse in the house mean as related to
a short basketball player in the paint?
Mouse in the house is what I yell when I got Roth in the post.
Oh God, no. It's
like you post up the little guy. It's like, yeah, we got a mouse in the house. Let's post him up.
Mouse in the house. That is
really?
low. Like
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it's very fun.
You
to
don't
say
watch basketball.
That's kind of flexing. It's very fun to say in the basketball realm, but outside of basketball, you never want to say mouse in the house. It is the worst. It is a very low tier thing to say, whereas other things are fun to say.
Is it still in the house, or did you get the mouse?
We got the mouse. The mouse is no longer in the house. It's a mouse in a trap. It's a dead mouse.
Oh, not as doesn't fit the rhyme scheme, but it's effective for real life. Yeah. There you go. All right. I guess that's everything else is settled as far as the tree and the roof. Everything we're good.
That was it. I got my money from insurance. The mouse in the house is gone. Everything's good. We're back.
Did you get the mouse, or did your spouse get the mouse?
Oh, are you kidding? We hired someone to put like 32 traps. I'm not touching that thing.
Mouse specialist. All right. Well, myself and Blender, we've been here for an hour or so. We talk about the slates. We're all over the place. I'm really curious to hear. I want to hear Cleveland specific takes because Blender hates Cleveland today, and I think Cleveland is right there.
Bad hates Cleveland. I have no personal opinion. I have no problem with them. They seem like nice people. The Guardians in the bat project slightly lower than the Marlins, and they suck. So
play wherever you want.
I'm just relaying it to the people, Dean. It ain't me. Go blame Cardi.
Well, fair enough. I will DM him immediately when I get off the show. That was Blender. By the way, you should have hit the like button the whole time, but I believe we have Spidey Bumps lurking, right? Spidey Bumps are a thing, TJ, so we got to hit it now just in case we haven't hit it already. Yes. Okay.
Sorry, I was reading something. I did not expect it to get thrown to me right there.
My apologies. All right, let's get out of here. Crunch time, Kevin Roth, Squirrel Patrol, and TJ Zwarych. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. I think my internet is sucking because Dean's exit was like, he sounded like a robot. That's probably on me. So hopefully I'm coming in loud and clear. Welcome to it. You know the drill. You know the drill. It's crunch time. It's two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We got Squirrel Patrol in the house. What up, Squirrel?
Yeah, not much. Kind of an early slate here, but it's a robust one. So looking forward to getting into it.
A robust one. I like that. Look at you. That is some interesting vocabulary early this morning. Devin says connection seems all right on our end. Good. Glad to hear it. We got TJ in the house as well. TJ, mouse in the house. Zwarych. What's up, TJ?
We've been through this. If you get me on the outside, I'm not going to be able to keep up your speed, but I'll push you around when we get in the key, Roth.
Yeah.
I sent you those videos of me squatting 500 pounds. You're cooked.
Once upon a time, I might have been cooked, but I think I got you these days. Hey, we're here to provide.
You could divide that 500 pounds by 5, and that would be about what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I think we're all hitting that decline. Well, we're all here not to talk about the fact that I would own you in basketball, but instead to talk about baseball. It is a robust slate, and there are minimal weather concerns, which is great. I wouldn't be fully shocked if there's a late start in Cleveland, but I don't expect it. And that's essentially it. There are no other concerns. I'm going to double check everything, in the next few minutes, but I think everything looks really good. So with that said, let's just dive on into it. TJ, you want to give me kind of a rundown of what this slate is all about and maybe what you're thinking of pitcher?
Yeah, I don't mind doing that one bit. It's 6 games. I'm not producing. This is chill. This is easy. We got Devin
Love
here.
it.
I'm not screen sharing. My hands are free to do what they want. This is nice. We kind of got a weird pack up top of pitchers with Max Scherzer, Dylan Cease, Corbin Burns, all projecting for 30 plus. Chris Bassett is really close in the 30% range as well. And the fun thing is you can get low-owned pitchers who are pretty good. Like if you don't want to play those guys. So Scherzer's in the best spot. He gets the White Sox. He's 8,600. He's nice and cheap. He's also been terrible. He has not been the Max Scherzer we know and love. Just been a different guy. He has not been himself. He's old. And so it kind of makes sense. But this is still the White Sox, and he's still really cheap. I'm still playing a lot of him, but I'll probably be a little bit underweight. I think I have like 27%, something like that. Cease would be my favorite of the 3 chalky guys up top. Corbin Burns, it's a great matchup. It's also an extreme hitters umpire, and he doesn't strike a lot of guys out. And so he's probably going to go 7 2/3 innings, something like that. But if he only strikes out 4 guys, I think I can do a little bit better because it is a really good pitching slate today. I think somebody hits a ceiling game. One of those guys that I think could hit a ceiling is Taj Bradley, 9K. The Blue Jays don't strike a lot of guys out, but he is a very good strikeout pitcher. I like both sides of this game because both sides I think are going under-owned. I think Bradley should be higher owned. I think the Blue Jays should be higher owned because he gives up a lot of hard contact too. So I really like him. Logan Webb is scary because he's not a huge strikeout guy and he's facing the Dodgers, but he also is and the weather, as you pointed out in your article, is really, really good in LA today. But he's also a really good ground ball guy. And so the weather doesn't matter a ton if the ball's not leaving the ground. And so I got some bets on Will Smith and Freddie Freeman to hit some home runs today just because they had some really good odds. But Webb is a viable pitching option. Gavin Williams, I think, is probably my favorite cheap option just based on ownership because he's coming in about half the projected ownership as Chris Bassett is. As long as that weather is okay in Cleveland for pitchers. He's facing Detroit. It's a great strikeout matchup. And then it's disgusting, but I do have a little bit of Jonathan Cannon mixed into my MME build as well.
Okay, very good. Squirrel, I want to hear your pitchers. And shout out to Dean for coming with this stat. Mad Max is turning 40 in 2 days. I knew he was old. I didn't realize he was 40. Oh man, I'm 40. That's old, Squirrel. That's how old we are, I think, roughly.
Yeah.
Ish.
So just in terms of pitchers, it's an interesting slate. I like the stuff in the middle, I think, more than like the big names. So Max Scherzer, we're showing with the highest ownership there. I'm like not as on board as I think that percentage ownership shows. I think Dylan Cease is right there next to him, followed by Corbin Burns. I kind of want to take some of all of that ownership and like put it more in the middle. Like TJ was talking about Gavin Williams. I was kind of surprised. I just thought I was gonna have to like come on here and like defend like Gavin Williams' take. But yeah, I think Gavin Williams is very underpriced. I think Chris Bassett is actually underpriced as well. Like I like the idea of being like maybe over on like Bassett and Gavin Williams, maybe even Logan Webb. And under the field on like Scherzer, Cease. I just like just came in from outside. It's super humid here in the DC area. Like that's good for baseballs going a long way. So I kind of like the Nationals as a sneaky stack against Dylan Cease. Not saying I'm going to fade Cease entirely or anything like that. I think he's definitely viable. I just think Nationals are a little bit of like a sneaky stack, but I also really like the Padres against Patrick Corbin. But we'll get into that with the hitters. And then, Clayton Kershaw is back, but I don't know how playable he is. I probably wouldn't play him at like double digit just because we don't know how long he's going to go or how good he is right now.
Yeah. Let's say you're playing cash. Is there a clear 1 and 2 for you, Squirrel?
I think cash, probably Dylan Cease is like the best guy. And then if it's on DraftKings, I'd probably pair Cease with either Bassett or Scherzer.
Okay.
I agree there. That's exactly what I would do.
All right.
Two of those
and then
three.
On FanDuel, is there any pricing discrepancies, anything that's changed where you're like, all right, over here, it's a little different because so-and-so is priced up, priced down, et cetera?
I do think Cease is a little bit more expensive relative on FanDuel. So like he's a little bit less of a good play on FanDuel. And I'm like I like the middle even more. Like Gavin Williams is only 7,500 on FanDuel compared to like Cease's 10,900.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good. Good stuff, guys. Let's flip it. Let's switch it. Let's talk about some of the stacks. Hey, by the way, make sure you smash that like button because I assume TJ's got Spidey bombs cooking. He's in there in the kitchen. He's chefing things up. TJ, am I just talking you up or no? You got Spidey bombs cooking.
You're absolutely right. They are cooking. And in fact, the first one is ready. We got Josh Smith against the White Sox plus 650 on BetMGM, and we got him at plus 600 on DraftKings. Josh Smith, Spidey bomb number 1. We are how many likes away from the second? 25 likes away from the next one. So keep smashing the like button. I'll get them every 50 likes. So one at 100, another one at 150. We got 300 people watching on YouTube. That shouldn't be a problem. So let's get at least 3 today.
Okay, very nice. I think we can make that happen. Squirrel, you mentioned you kind of liked the Nationals as a sneakier stack. What are you thinking here as chalk, and where does most of your ownership go in here?
So I think the chalkiest stack is going to end up being Texas. And I don't necessarily mind that. Like, I think they are in the best spot. So they kind of deserve that ownership. I think second is going to be Baltimore, and I don't like that as much. They're in Miami. It's a good pitching park. I've realized over the course of like this season doing content that I probably factor in parks like more than other people just because like I want a team that's going to score like 12 runs. And I think the Orioles, like being in a really good pitching park, like they have a good chance of scoring 5 runs, 6 runs, and they could score 12 runs. I just think the chances of that in a really good pitching park are less than people are maybe factoring in. Yeah. I think San Diego, my number 2 is probably San Diego. And then I like the Nationals, and I like the Giants actually as kind of sneakier stacks. Like we don't really know what condition Clayton Kershaw is in, how long he's going to go. Like he didn't go very long in his minor league starts, and I think he gave up like 7 runs in 7 innings over 2 starts. So I don't know, why not the Giants? And I think they're going to see very minimal ownership. And then Nationals, yeah, like Cease is going to be really popular as a pitcher. So, but if it's a good like hitting environment game, good hitting weather, no reason the Nationals can't like string together some home runs, some hits, get some stolen bases.
Sure, I like it. TJ, what are your thoughts here, stack wise?
So Padres are actually my number 1 today. I have the most of them going up against Patrick Corbin in some nice weather. That's basically best case scenario. Rangers are my number 2 stack. I agree with Squirrel that I'm heavy on the Giants today, which feels really gross, but I'm doing it anyways. Against Clayton Kershaw, they're my 3rd highest owned stack with Baltimore right behind them. Cleveland is my number 5 today. I like them a little less than Dean, but a lot more than Blender today. I know Dean really wanted the shout outs to Cleveland on there, so I'm not as high as he is on them, but I do like them. I think the bat is too low on them. I think they should be a little up higher if we get Kenton Maeda there coming in relief. I think Cleveland could have a big game. Tampa, the Dodgers, and Toronto, I'm getting about 10% of stacks of them. I don't have any Washington or Chicago, but I feel like I should. I do have some Detroit, so I'm thinking about maybe now, just like when Squirrel's talking, I'll just be entering one Washington team and one Chicago White Sox team, just because Scherzer is going to be so popular.
Sure, yeah, mix it up a little bit. All right, let's go around the horn. We'll talk position by position, and we generally like to start at the old catcher spot. TJ, I will give you the honor of leading us off here.
All right, let's do it. So much for building.
Sorry, you're like once Squirrel talks like bad news, you're first, bud.
Will Smith is somebody I really like today. I'm getting to him as much as I can. He is the only player at this position I'm getting as a one-off. Everybody else is going to only be in stacks. Patrick Bailey, Luis Camposano, Jonah Heim, James McCann, Bo Naylor. Strictly an in stacks position for me today outside of Will Smith.
Okay. Squirrel, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's kind of Will Smith. I can't say it better. Just Will Smith. Danny Jansen's probably right after him. If you want to get sneaky, maybe like Patrick Bailey because the lineup's not out yet. Everything else is kind of dregs of like 8th and 9th hitters.
Gotcha. Okay, how about first base?
First base. So yeah, Shohei Ohtani probably going to go under-owned, which doesn't always happen. He's expensive. But like the lineup's not out yet. It's not a great matchup against Logan Webb, but like Ohtani just crushes left-handed hitting all season. So yeah, Ohtani's the number one. Then I kind of like Jake Cronenworth. He's in that high humidity game. And he's cheaper than Vlad Guerrero and Josh Naylor, but I kind of like him a little bit more. Ryan O'Hearn is even more savings than Cronenworth at 4,000 on DraftKings. If you really, really want to save some money, I don't mind Juan Yepes facing Dylan Cease.
Okay. Also, another vocab kudos to you for working in dregs in your last one. You're on 2 now. You get one more, and I don't know, you get a cookie or something. TJ, what do you got here at first base?
All right, I got my Washington stack in. Now I just got to build the rest of the team. We're cooking. Did you manually do that, or was that like online? Oh yeah, I plugged in. I haven't built the full team. I've just plugged in the 5 Washington guys that I want. Okay. But first base today, Shohei Ohtani is my highest owned play. I'm getting to as much of him as possible. I think he is my no, he's not my highest owned bat on the slate. Never mind, just my highest owned first baseman. Jake Cronenworth in the lefty at low ownership, I like quite a bit. Nathaniel Lowe, Vladimir Guerrero at low ownership, either in a J stack or as a one-off, I like quite a bit. And then Josh Naylor would be the next guy that I'm looking to get to the most.
Okay, shout out to Shadow, who just like jumped up, gave one meow, and then jumped back down. Just like perfectly meowed into the microphone, was like, hey, and I'm out.
He was up on the windowsill over there, and so it was like this was his transition to the ground, and he made a quick hello, quick what's up on his way.
He was like, hey, what's up, y'all? I'm here. All right, I'm out now. Where are we at? I think we're at second base, second base, TJ.
He's like, hey, you guys talking about me? I'm back. Yeah. Jake Cronenworth is my highest owned guy here, getting to a lot of the red hot Tyler Fitzgerald in my San Francisco Giants stacks. Brandon Lau, I love going up against Bassett, even if I'm not full stacking. Bassett sucks against lefties. Lau's probably going to hit a home run today. Jordan Westberg batting second. Bogarts is fine, but I'm going to be underweight even in my San Diego stacks just because I don't think he's got a lot of power there. And then Semien would probably be the next guy I'm getting to the most. And even though I'm not playing any White Sox, I do like a little Brooks Baldwin at minimum price.
Okay, Squirrel, your thoughts at second base?
Yeah, I think Brandon Lau is probably the number one guy, but Xander Bogaerts is pretty close and a little bit cheaper. Marcus Semien's a little bit more expensive, but he's hitting, leading off for the Rangers, and that's like one of my top stacks. Jake Cronenworth, second base eligible on DraftKings, also very good. And then Richard Palacios leading off for Tampa Bay. Lineup's not out yet, but 3,500, that's pretty good savings.
Nice. How about third base?
So I think third base, Matt Chapman is going to go overlooked facing Clayton Kershaw, but I really like him. Also like Manny Machado, Jose Ramirez, and then for savings, Donovan Solano's only 3,100 on DraftKings, hitting second for the Padres.
Okay, TJ, your thoughts at third? Did you have more? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Nope. Okay, cool. TJ, your thoughts at third?
I tried to say my highest owned batter was Shohei Ohtani. It's not. It's Josh Smith, and it's here at this position. I love him for tournaments. I don't get why he's not going higher owned today. He's a Spidey Bomb. He's my favorite bat on the entire slate. Spidey Bomb number 2, Anthony Santander, since we've hit 100 likes today. And let's get it up. I'll say Spidey Bomb number 3 can be a 125 if we can get the likes up above there. So let's get them up. Anthony Santander and Josh Smith, the first 2 Spidey Bombs. After Smith, for me, it's Manny Machado, Vladimir Guerrero, Jordan Westberg, and as Cheese mentioned, Matt Chapman, getting some Jose Ramirez and Donovan Solano as well. And that's about it.
Okay, great. How about shortstop?
Corey Seager, 40% owned today. Shout out to our guy, Roth, LSU fan, getting mad every time we talk about Corey Seager. Well, he hit a bomb last night, and he's probably going to again today.
Get mad again, LSU fan. That's what it takes. Get mad. Tell us how dumb we are for talking about Seager.
So Seager is tied with Josh Smith as my highest owned play on the slate. After him, Fitzgerald, Kim, Gunnar Henderson. I'm going to be severely underweight on Gunnar Henderson today. Which feels scary, but he also hasn't been all that good as of late. CJ Abrams, I love being heavily overweight on, even though I'm not stacking a lot of the Nationals today. I do love Abrams.
Okay. Squirrel, your thoughts at short?
Shortstop. Yeah. So I think it's pretty loaded. It's really hard to distinguish between Corey Seager, Gunnar Henderson, CJ Abrams. I kind of like Abrams for the ownership, and he's a little bit cheaper than Gunnar Henderson. Probably for the price, like Corey Seager the best. CJ Abrams at 2% ownership. Like he should be owned much more than that.
Yeah.
And then for savings, Ha-Sung Kim for the Padres. If you want even cheaper than that, it's tough. Probably like Zach McKinstry with Detroit, but I don't love that.
Okay. Fun little baseball tidbit just dropped. Garrett Crochet says he won't move to the bullpen in regular season. If traded, he would need an extension to pitch. So he's saying, I'm not like, if you're trading for me, I'm not playing unless you also give me an extension.
But is he also saying if
he's a starter
put in a reliever spot? Like why?
No, he's saying he won't be put in a reliever spot.
Why would he?
People are worried about him, or people are saying like maybe he would do there because he's young. He's been on a pitch count with the White Sox, and so like they're saying like if he wants to last to October, maybe he'd need to be put through the bullpen. And he's saying like, no, I want to start, and if you want me pitching in October, I'm good to do it, but just make sure I have an extension. I don't want to risk injury and get cut.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fair with that. Matt says not a guy I'd want on my team. Like I have no idea if he's good or not, but I have no problem with that mentality whatsoever. I think that's fair.
You invest in me and I'll invest in you is basically what he's saying.
Yep. Okay, I think we're in the outfield for TJ now, right? Or did I make that up?
No, outfield for Squirrel.
Oh, yeah. Outfield for Squirrel. Okay, what's up, Squirrel? What do we got?
Yeah, so I think Joey Ohtani is probably the best projected hitter on the slate, and he's probably going to go under owned. So like that's appealing. Like Adolis Garcia, Luis Roberts, Anthony Santander, Wyatt Langford, Jorge Soler also going to go really under owned, facing Clayton Kershaw, and then John Kensey Noel, the Cleveland prospect, good power hitter. He's only 3,300. Like him against the Minnesota combination.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
TJ, your thoughts in the old outfield?
Anthony Santander, the Spidey Bomb, is my highest owned guy in the outfield today, just with Shohei Ohtani slightly behind him, 1% behind him, one lineup. I really like Jerks and Profar. I have a very high owned for me, but low owned for the rest of the field. Spidey Bomb in the outfield with some great odds if the people can get to 125 likes, but I'm saving that, so I'm not telling you who it is. Wyatt Langford, Jorge Soler, Heliot Ramos, Leody Taveras batted near the end of the lineup for the Rangers. I really like Colton Cowser. I think is a strong play, and I'm getting some Bryce Johnson at minimum price for the Padres as well.
Okay. Hey, that leads us to some bombs. We want bombs. How many likes do we get, TJ?
We are at 113, so 12 away from my third Spidey Bomb that is low owned with some great odds.
Okay. I think we can make it. Squirrel, you got some home run calls for me?
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit off the board, but I'm going to go with James Wood for the Nationals. He's just been hitting the snot out of the ball, and it just keeps getting caught. Like these line drives keep getting caught. He's going to hit one in a long way.
Nice.
So I think that's pretty long odds, but I think I like it versus Dylan Cease. And then I'll go Jorge Soler as well against Clayton Kershaw or whoever comes out of the Dodgers.
Yeah. Okay. We have I think 10 minutes until lock, so we're kind of running a little low. If you've got any questions, get them in here because if we run out of questions, we're just going to bounce. We did get a question from Michael who says, TJ, I would go Westburg Palacios as a one-off, or I could go Westburg Palacios as a one-off, or have a 4-4 and a GPP and have Merrill Mountcastle. Do you have any preference, TJ?
The Merrill Mountcastle one, definitely. And we're good for Spidey Bomb number 3 for Detroit today. It's Justin Henry Malloy at plus 750.
Plus 750. I like it. Those are solid odds, my man. If you got questions, get them in. It can be about baseball. It can be about lunch. That's pretty much it. I'm looking in the RG Discord because that's where the cool kids hang out.
Deadpool and Wolverine related. Happy Deadpool and Wolverine Day, everyone. I'm going in 9 hours, and I'm excited.
Oh, somebody didn't get the early release, huh? Somebody didn't get the.
I got invited, but I
early?
didn't want to. I got invited, but I didn't want to fly to Toronto. And so we have an Agents of Fandom member and co-owner that lives in Toronto. We just got the one invite, and so he got it. But he went to the like a meet and greet thing earlier this week too. So he got to take pictures with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, and then Anthony Mackie showed up, who is Captain America, and Aman Vellani showed up, who's Ms. Marvel. It was pretty cool.
That does sound kind of awesome. Like, all right, maybe you should have been like, nah, I'm taking that. I'm flying to Toronto. I'm doing it. Hey, make sure you're signing up for RG Premium, by the way. We have an option for whatever level you're looking for. 6-month combo subscription, exclusive price, $469.99. That's a savings of $250 as opposed to buying 6 individual months of combo premium. And if you are not a fan of commitment, you can get a month of RG Combo Premium for $120. That's a pretty good deal. But this is my favorite thing because this is going to get you hooked. If you want a test run before you buy, dip your toes in the water. 3-day pass is $19.99. I spent more than that at McDonald's this morning. $19.99. Check the link in the description for my 3 days for $19.99. I feel like we've mispriced that. It seems look at that MLB package, $19.99 for 3 days, or you get the combo package, $19.99 for 3 days. There's a bug. There's a glitch in the matrix, and it's available for you to just click that button and take advantage of that glitch in the matrix.
You do it too, like do it on like a Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get like baseball for Wednesday, you get golf for Thursday, you get MMA for Friday, like to prep for it for Saturday, plus with the baseball on the way, and you can get so much if you do it on that at that time.
Yeah, I mean, we're literally telling you how to hack the system here, but then you're going to end up just signing up for 6 months because that's the right move. James Duran says, "Who's Palacios?" You know, there's a city nearby Houston that is spelled that way and pronounced Palacios, but is his name Palacios? Palacios?
Yeah.
Palacios. The city in Southeast Texas is Palacios, so it wants to come off the tongue that way. So my bad. Hey, we're 5-6 minutes until lock. We did get some QQs in. Here you go. What are the 2 pitchers we like in tournaments, if I might ask? You may ask. Squirrel, your 2 favorite pitchers in a tournament.
That's tough. Like, I think for the price and ownership, I like Gavin Williams and Chris Bassett. But I think you don't necessarily want to spend down kind of on both. I would spend up maybe for one. Like, sure, they're the best. Then maybe Don't Cease, and then maybe like Taj Bradley.
Okay. E.S. Flores. Squirrel says, best guess. Where do you think Wilmer Flores is hitting in the lineup? He's min price on FanDuel, and he is a certified hashtag lefty masher. Any best guesses, or maybe where do we have him in our lineup page? Because we're pretty good at that.
Yeah, I would just go based off of what the lineup page says. I think probably like 6th or 7th.
Yeah. Okay. TJ, question for you from Luke Cage, DKGPP. That's a Mortal Kombat reference, by the way. DKGPP.
It's a Marvel Comics reference.
Have we done this before? Have we screwed this up before? Who's the Mortal Kombat guy?
Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage. Damn it. You're right. Luke Cage. Okay. Yeah,
Luke Cage is a Marvel character.
That's my bad, Luke. That's my bad. DKGPP Simeon versus Bogarts. I have a range. It's a rough day for me, man. Palacios, Luke Cage, Johnny Cage.
It's early. It's these early starts, Rob.
Hey,
it's not your fault.
I'm barely awake. All right. DKGPP Simeon versus Bogarts. I have a Ranger stack.
I'd go Simeon if you've got the Ranger stack.
Yeah. TJ?
Yeah, Simeon
Bogarts.
for sure.
Yeah. All right. Bean says FanDuel GPP. TJ, your favorite pitcher in a FanDuel GPP?
I want to look at where ownerships are at right now. So give Scroll one, and then I'll give you my favorite for like a single entry in a large field.
Okay. I don't think we missed this. Eric says, who does Squirrel like to homer today?
I think I said James Wood and Jorge Soler.
There you have it.
Actually, my answer for tournaments on FanDuel, regardless, I think is Gavin Williams. He's projecting for 7% owned, and he's only 7,500.
Very nice. Matt Smith says, Squirrel, Simeon Yepes or Westberg and Nate Lowe, DK Cash.
Probably a Simeon Yepes.
Okay. Unreleased Lo-Fi Music says, Squirrel, are you fine playing Gavin Willie even on FanDuel?
Yeah. Actually, I almost prefer him on FanDuel just because like the price gap between him and Cease on FanDuel is so big. I think it's like 3,400. That's almost an extra hitter.
Okay, very good. I'll scroll it down a little bit. We're getting close to lock. We're 2-3 minutes away here from lock. Chad says, DK Cash, I'm sorry I joined late. Your favorite 2 pitchers, TJ. DK Cash, your favorite 2 pitchers.
Cease and either Scherzer or Bassett, whichever fits your build better.
Okay. Alan says Soler is a one-off in a DK GPP, TJ? Soler one-off?
Absolutely.
Okay. We're coming up real close to the lock. I've got a little story time if we need it about the most embarrassing thing I've ever done in a work setting. It is
just go right to that.
All right. It's pretty bad. If we don't get questions, we'll hit it real quick. Mochi says he was answering Dean's movie of the day, and I said, I forgot I had to rewind the video back 20 minutes. Like a dumbass, he was making picks 20 minutes behind, so he looked like an idiot. I once, when I was on the news in Shreveport, I was so mad with production because I was looking at thoughts on Burns, TJ? Your thoughts on Burns?
In the pool, but my least favorite of the expensive pitchers because of not a great umpire, which doesn't usually matter to me, but he's also not a big strikeout guy, and there are a lot of other big strikeout guys on the slate.
Okay. So I was home. I was not working, but I was watching our local news that I worked for, and the timer, the little time bug was off in the bottom right. And I was like, if people can't trust us to get the time right, how can they trust us to do anything? So I called up the newsroom and I made a big stink and I talked to everyone there. And I was like, you can't even get the bleeping time right. Like, you guys are really sucking. And then I realized an hour later, I was watching on DVR and the time was right. So I made the biggest stink about it too. And everyone was just like, I don't know, it looks right to me. I'm like, well, I'm watching the news right now and it's not right. I DVR'd it and I'm an idiot. So
let me meet you halfway there, Roth. I used to work at a production company, and there was one day where we had to do this several hours long shoot with some guest, and it was basically like hitting a bunch of news stations across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And we had recorded the whole thing. It was contingency plan, everything. I was supposed to take the file, bring it over to another computer and send it to some people. I bring it over to that computer and I must have blacked out or something, because I blinked and suddenly the file was deleted. I couldn't find any. I'm talking 4.5 hours of high-end production value footage that I just deleted on accident. And I was just sweating bullets.
Luckily, it was gone.
It was gone. Luckily, my boss, he I don't know if you guys watch Parks and Rec, but it was like that episode where Donna comes in and fixes everything for April and Andy, and she's just like, "Oh yeah, Jerry is always messing things up, so I've got backups on all the computers." My boss comes in and basically does that, and I was like, "Thank you." I was like, "They're gonna fire me immediately.
Yeah.
They're gonna fire me."
Yeah.
Great time to mention, if you don't watch Parks and Rec, you should, because it's an all-time sitcom. Absolutely incredible. First season is just good.
Just suffers.
Everything after that is absolutely amazing. For its first season is just fine, but then they add some new characters, get rid of a couple, and it just goes miles and miles better. I don't make any big stupid mistakes very often, but Devin can attest to this. I make a lot of small ones just every day, all the time. Just yesterday, I was like, "Hey, I can't find their 2 days ago, whatever it was. I can't find credits for the PGA show. Do you mind sending them to me?" He's like, "They should be there." And I send him pictures, and I was like, "I've looked 10 times. They're not there." And he looks at the picture. He's like, "Yep, just second from the top." And I'm like, "Damn it! How do I what?"
They're right there.
I was having this thing where I was like, I was looking for Noto and Cards' names in the credits. That's specifically what I was looking for. And it says PGA show outro in big letters. And so just because I wasn't looking for PGA, I was looking for their names. Brain just did not Like,
well, you have ADHD too, right?
oh yeah,
Yes,
rampant.
Same. So yeah, it's just that sometimes it gets a little crazy in there. Hey, guess what? We've hit lock on that note. Squirrel, do you have any embarrassing work stories you'd like to share while you're at it, or no? You don't make mistakes.
One of us.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. I'm sure I do.
Yeah.
But I
That's
can't think of
fair.
anything.
All right, we're gonna bounce on out of here now for Squirrel, for TJ, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.